All right, good evening, everyone. Welcome again to the 360 podcast with BBL podcast. We've got a usual crew, plus we've got Dan joining us tonight. How are you, Dan?
Not too bad. How are you going, Brad?
Yeah, good, thanks. How'd you end up in NRL this year? Did you?
Not too great. I had a good run home. I was up in the 20,000s and ended up in like top 5,000-ish.
Oh, that's all right. That puts you in about top 5%, so that's all right. Yeah, don't be.
Yeah, it was looking bad for a while, and then I made a couple of good calls at the end of the season, which was nice.
Don't worry, me and Rosco know how you feel on that one. How are you, Rosco? You all right?
Yeah, I'm good. Yeah, all good. Yep, ready to go for another pod. So,
hey,
yeah, nothing like a bit of carnage. Nothing like a bit of carnage before the season even starts again.
Tell me, would you have been like Latrell and put your World Cup winning bonus all on the fight for Hodges to win?
Oh, well, he's obviously got money to burn, so why not? But I wouldn't have done it. No.
What does that scream to you?
Too much cash, dumbass.
Well, I tell you what, bud, if he pulled it off, he would have been cheering. Although Gal was always going to win that.
Yeah, I can't see. Yeah, I can't see much sense in it. And how are you, Burgs? Going all right?
I'm fantastic, as per usual.
What did you think of this week? We saw some photographs of Cam Munster vaping away inside the dressing sheds after the World Cup win. What did you think about that?
Oh, whatever. I think there's no difference to that. Fisher Harris was doing it at the grand final celebrations as well. I think it was just an excuse for the Titans to get rid of poor Kevin Proctor at time. It's what do you do, man? It's part of culture now. Once upon a time, you could smoke bungers on the sideline, and then it became an in the sheds thing.
Yeah.
So, and there's other players out there smoke, man. Like there's actual players smoking cigarettes. So it's just a matter of they don't do it in the public eye. It's their personal choice. It's not a performance enhancing drug, so I've got no issue with it. They're only doing themselves harm.
Do you think it's a good look for the game or not, though? That's probably
It's not a good look for the game, but that's on the media as well, taking these pictures and stuff. Like they don't have to show that. They can show the other side of the dressing room where everyone's celebrating, but instead they decide to besmirch people. They just don't look for the good. They always look for the bad. And it's been a problem for a very long time. When there's so much good that goes along with the game and you don't hear it unless you go looking for it. But every other day, the newspaper, 6 months, we got 5 months till kickoff, but hey, we're talking football every week. Besmirching, we're never ever talking good stuff. Anyway.
Yeah, it's a funny one. I mean, I don't like it myself. I reckon it's shit, but I think it's an age thing there because, like, I've got young adult children who will regularly vape, but particularly when they're out with mates and that. It's a whole different world, I don't, it's just, I guess my generation, we look at it and go, oh shit, that's just, no, not for me. That's crap. I'd never do that in a dressing room or, but like I said, it might just be an age thing and me looking at it.
But what do you remember seeing in the dressing room, Braddo? You know what I mean? You ever remember people sitting there smoking bunkers and drinking beers and...
Oh, I certainly at the back of the dressing shed, yeah, and certainly in the dressing shed drinking a lot of beer. But yeah, I don't know, the vaping thing just I just don't quite get it. I don't know why you want to smoke a strawberry daiquiri lime flavored friggin' thing, I don't get it.
Leaves a heck of a taste in your mouth. I've had a go once. They're not for me.
All right, so we're here to talk about BBL. We've had a bit of a chat about some other things. Now, with BBL this week, carnage continues to fall, it would appear. So there's been a couple of major signings. Now, Dan, I don't even know why that they had a draft at the beginning of the year, because it's now probably the biggest failure in Australian sport, because all of the major signings, or a lot of the major signings in that draft, have all decided to either quit or suddenly become unavailable. Willie was one of the first. Livingston got selected for England, so he's also dropped out. So Livingston's no longer, who was the number 1 pick. And the latest one to follow them, of course, is Evans, who tested positive for some performance-enhancing drugs. Does anybody know? Burgs, you know what he got tested positive for?
Nah, I fully don't. I think it was a steroid, but
Yeah. Well, so he's now dropped out. So there's a bunch of new signings. Oh, excuse me, not COVID. For Zeke, and excuse me, and I apologise to these players because I can't pronounce their name. Fazlak Faruqi. He's the first ever fast bowler from Afghanistan to be to make his play for the BBL. He's 105k, and he'll be trotting out for the Thunder. Any interest for anyone? Any thoughts for Faruqi?
if he was 45k, I'd definitely jump on. At 100k, I know they got double, which is interesting, but if he doesn't perform, he might not be there for double 2, you know. He might not even be there for the second game of the first double if he doesn't perform game 1. For me, if you're going to look at someone, like he might be a good pod for someone if that's the way you want to go, but for me, I'd be looking at people who are definitely solidified in that team. Like a Sams, you know, we know Sams is definitely going to play both all 4 of those games, most likely. Hale should do the same. But I probably wouldn't take a risk on him unless you know about him personally. If you know a bit about him and you know he's a gun or something, then yeah, you might jump on sneakily. But for me, if he doesn't jump up too much cash and has 2 good games, I might jump on him for the second game just to get the cash rises, if you know what I mean.
Well, as we're talking Thunder, and I'll put this one to Dan. I don't know if you've seen any the recent Sheffield Shield results, Dan, but Chris Green, who plays for the Thunder, made his debut. Unbelievable. That's his Shield debut for New South Wales. So you would have thought he would have played with New South Wales before now. But he played his debut game this week. I think he took 11 wickets.
9.
He took 9.
9.
9 wickets. Yeah, that's right. Yeah, Dan, you fill us in. 9. Well, did he top score for New South Wales in the second innings as well, didn't he?
I'm not too sure about that, to be honest.
Yeah, I think
Pretty sure. Yeah, I think he did.
Yeah.
I think he did. Yeah.
With the bat, really?
Yeah.
They still lost.
Still got flogged.
So, and he was man of the match with a team that got flogged. He was actually man of the match at the end of the day. Any interest, Dan? Sorry, Burgs.
Yeah, well, he's pretty much guaranteed his 4 overs every game, which is a bonus. And can come in late for some power hitting. What price is he, though? I'll just check.
Very cheap.
While you're checking that, just sometimes form coming into BBL is a key thing too. Like if you know if he's doing that in Shield, then he might be a great pickup for BBL. You know,
119 he is.
Yeah, I think that's a steal for a form player at the moment. That's definitely on my radar.
Yeah, well, definitely. How could you not? Especially if he's top scored and took 9 wickets.
And he took 4 wickets in the Marsh Cup game prior to that too. So he's taken 13 wickets in 2 games.
Wow.
And he's a specialist in the shorter format, so
yeah,
that form will definitely help.
It certainly helps with not having Tampi Sangha in the team, because he definitely should bowl his 4 overs with him out of the team.
Yeah. And he averaged, 41 last season?
Yeah.
high score of 95.
Now, I don't know if we have a look at if you, I don't know if you, Dan, you've got it open there, but having a look at the Thunder, that Farouk, I don't think he's going to even, I don't know how he makes the team actually, because if you've got the likes of Green, you've got the likes of Dan Sams, you got the likes of Bolt. Isn't Bolt playing for the Thunder?
No,
Jason,
Bolt's not playing for Thunder.
Is he starting?
Jason Sanger as well.
Yeah, he can bowl, eh?
Yeah. He's pretty handy.
The question is
Nathan,
having a look at the bowlers, is there much room there for
Well, it's basically going to replace Willie in the team.
Nathan McAndrew, Chris Green.
I'm pretty confident he'll be in the team.
Daniel Sam. So that's 1, 2. Yeah, he should, I think he might make the team with that Willie pulling out.
Here's a BBL question for you. Do you have to play X amount of internationals, or can you just play couple of Aussies? You know?
No, you don't have to play any internationals if you don't want to.
Okay, yeah, so he's not. So he's really not required if he's not required.
Yeah, but they're not going to pay all that money to get him over here and not play him.
I don't think it would have cost them too much, would he?
I think. Well, they would have had Willie money back, wouldn't they?
Mm. Yeah, they would. Yeah, but no,
So,
you're right, Dan. There wouldn't be much money being spent on him. No.
Is he unknown? Or is he known in the subcontinent?
Well, Afghanistan players aren't really known that well, except for Rashid Khan. He's the main one. Maybe Majib, but
they're not known for their. They're not known for their pace bowling.
No.
Which is what he is.
Yeah.
So we also have a signing this week of Martin Guptill, who is a good New Zealander journeyman. He's been picked up by the Gades. He's 160,000 though. They priced him at, which is a huge amount. Anybody got any interest, or do you like Martin Guptill at all, Rosco?
I don't look. He's a gun T20 player. Don't get me wrong, but I won't be going anywhere near him until they hit the hit up for their doubles. I'll probably have a look at him then, but not going to start. Certainly not going to start with him. That's for sure. Not at that price. Not for that price. No.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah,
by the time their double rolls around, hopefully he's lost a little bit of cash.
Round 6, is it? I think
Just checking now. Checking.
It is late. It's late in the piece.
Yeah.
Them and the Sixers.
Also this week, Zach Crawley, English journeyman. Well, not so much a journeyman, but an up and comer, I guess. Very mid range sort of Englishman. Don't really know much about him. Does anybody know much about Zach Crawley?
He's a really good red ball player. He's more known for his longer formats, but like you said, he's young, up and comer.
Yep. Yeah, I don't think I'll be going. Yeah, I think that's one to probably steer clear of. And Cam McClure. Does anybody know much about young Cam at 42,000?
He's a Victorian young bloke, goes pretty well with the ball, pretty handy with the bat as well. Like he won't bat up. He'll probably bat about 8 or so, but he's very handy with the bat as well. But just a good young upcoming player. But I don't know if he's going to get a game though. It's all going to depend on the selections, whether he gets a run or not though.
Yeah, it's a bit. There's a young bloke up in Brisbane, Dan, in your neck of the woods, that's apparently turning a lot of heads at the moment. What's his name?
Josh Brown.
That's him, Josh Brown. What are your thoughts there? A cheapie at 42,000, and he's been highly speculated to possibly get a starting spot in the top of the order. Any thoughts?
He's been in the wings for a long time. There's been a lot of Brisbane grade cricketers that have been trying to get him in the team. Howling his name, being a massive endorsement for him. So it's good to hopefully finally see him get his shot. He's a very good batsman, very aggressive, absolutely dominates the grade cricket up here against some of the very good cricketers that play for Queensland and Australia, so it's not like he's playing against just backyard cricketers. He's proven himself for the last 5-10 years up here.
I think he's going to get his opportunity about mid-season when Billings and Munro head off for the UAE competition. So I think he will get a run at some stage, but I don't think he'll start the season just because they've got they've got a stack. But in saying that, when Munro and Billings go, there's a good chance he might get a run about mid-season.
Yeah, hopefully it'll be nice to see him get a run.
Yeah.
Played against him a couple of times, and yeah, like I said, he's a freak with the bat.
Brisbane have got the when have they got? They got a round 3 double. Is that right, Rosco?
A round 3 double and a round 12 double. So he could be handy for that 12 double, hopefully, and cheap.
At 42K, if he gets picked, you got to take the risk with him.
Oh yeah.
I think nearly anyone at 42K you got to have a look at, just because they're bound to generate some cash, especially if they're in them double game periods as well.
So
just having a look at Zach Crawley's stats. He's played 47 T20s, a high score of 108, an average of 29, and a strike rate of 145. So that's not too bad.
Yeah, it's not bad.
Jesus, that's actually a lot better than I thought. Yeah, it's good. Yeah,
When's his double game? When's his double game?
Their double is their double's not until round 8 for the Hurricanes.
He scored 267 in a test match. That's massive.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, that is
I knew he was a decent test cricketer, but I didn't know he was a decent T20 cricketer.
That's just like first class cricket in England, probably.
Yeah.
I don't know if he hasn't played any IPL or anything like that. So
yeah.
Now I know some people have been toying with the plan of putting some Western Australians, some scorchers on their bench in readiness for their game, their round 2 double. But if you're going with Jai Richardson, I've been hearing murmurs. He missed a Shield game this week through injury. So I think with Ty and Kelly's an absolute blistering form at the moment. Yeah, what is anybody's thoughts on that one? Anyone can put in, but I'd probably steer clear of Richardson if he's still missing games this close to the start of the BBL with injury.
From what I believe I read, is it's just precautionary to rest him at the moment. It's nothing bad. It's just a bruised heel. So he should be good to go. But you're right though. They have a lot of bowling options in that squad. You've got Ty, you've got Kelly, you've got Hardy, you've got Lance Morris, you've got Lance Morris, you've got Berendorf. Like there's plenty of options there. But look, if he misses the first game, that's okay. I mean, as long as he's good to go for the double. But you know, is that a risk at his price because he's over 200K and that breaks down that first game.
He's 141.
Is he? Oh
yeah.
I thought he was a lot more expensive than that.
Yeah, I was surprised to see he was only 149.
Okay. Yeah.
But still, probably expensive to have just sitting there.
Not if he comes back and plays that double. If he comes back and plays that double, you know he does well. He does well every time he goes on the field.
Well, I know that New South Wales have got a one day coming up against the Warriors in, I think it's next week. So we'll get a bit of an indication then of whether he's going to play or not.
Yeah. Would you sit Marsh?
No, not for that price. No one in the world. He's over 200K.
He's 245.
No, he wouldn't be bent.
He's not for me either. It's not for me either. But I've seen a couple of people say, "Oh, I've got to have him. He's going to do this. He's going to do that." Who are you talking about? English, weren't you, Braddo? Eh?
Yeah. I'm at the moment in my team. I definitely have slotted Inglis in, particularly at his price. I think there's a lot of smartness in doing that. I wouldn't mind another Western Australian player, but yeah, I have seen people's teams being posted with Marsh in them, and you're right. Some people have done that, but yeah, I can't do it.
Too much cash to be leaving on a bench.
Yeah.
If you want Marsh, you'd trade out one of your strikers or something for him after the first round.
Right.
Yeah. The other thing of that was was Bancroft, who's going to take over old mate Patterson's fucking spot? Remember, he left Paddo.
Yeah.
He was
They got Phil Salt.
Oh, did they? He won't open, but will he?
Yeah, he'll open probably with Darcy Short or something like that.
No, Short's still at
Oh, sorry,
Hobart.
Short's Hurricane. Sorry, my bad. Yeah,
It'll probably be him in English, you'd think.
Was that Salt? Was it?
Because
Yeah.
it would have been Livingston and Pattinson last year, so that goes there 2 openings. Well, Livingston was first drop.
I think it'll be Inglis and Salt, or maybe Salt and Bancroft and Inglis at 3.
Yeah.
See, Bancroft's cheap, and he's dual as well as Inglis. I've been looking at that as well, just tossing that up as an idea.
Yeah, he's been in form too.
Bancroft, has he?
Yeah.
Now, just a quick word on Salt. Just remember, he did get injured. Did he get injured in that last one-day international?
Yeah, he went concussion. Went off with concussion.
Was that all it was? It was just no.
Yeah. No, just concussion apparently. Yeah.
All right. Well, he should be right to go then. Matty Renshaw. Anybody got any interest in him? He's been absolutely killing it as well. He's another one that's been ripping on me at the moment.
Scored 100 today.
Yeah.
He finished last year's BBL good with the bat and the ball, didn't he?
Oh, not so much with the ball, but the bat he was all right.
He had a few bowls, but didn't he bowls a few overs?
Yeah, he sneaks a few through. He got the jewel,
Yeah.
so he sneaks a few overs through.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's just one of those little potty options that's floating around that seems to be in a bit of form at the moment.
It'll be interesting where he bats, though.
Well, that's it. If he's just stuck in the middle order, then I don't think you really want to go near him.
Because the Heat's top order is absolutely stacked.
Yeah. Nathan McAndrew, we just spoke about him a little while ago, but he's been absolutely killing it too. So he's only 103K, right? And he will play both games. I'll tell you what.
He's a double.
Yeah. He's mighty enticing to me.
He's a good shout.
He was playing the match recently in the game versus Queensland. He took 5 for 93. That's it's a pretty solid form around him at the moment. I think he might be one of the Shield's highest wicket takers too at the moment.
Yeah, I think he's up there with Michael Neser with the most wickets or something. Another Nathan that's in good form too, and he should get picked for the strikers too, is Nathan McSweeney. He's been killing it this year, massively, been making runs left, right and centre. So he could be, I don't know what price he is, but he could be another one to look at if he gets picked for the strikers too as well, because he got the double.
So what sort of batting, where will he sit, Rosco?
He was batting about 4, and he can bowl overs too.
He's not even on the list.
Oh, I thought he'd signed with strikers.
Have you heard it?
He's not on the strikers list.
Okay.
Does the Grand Dome tickle anyone's interest?
Yeah, he's in my team at the moment.
Yeah. You know much about him, Dan?
Yeah. Have you seen him? It looks like a rugby player.
Does he? So he's a 10.
Yeah.
He's a massive unit.
Yeah.
Sweet. So he rather hits than runs then.
He's a good lower order batsman and a good bowler, good change-ups.
Yeah.
The only thing that worries me is he going to bowl 4 overs, and he's probably going to bat like number 6 or something like that.
Yeah.
He'd be one of the first to go up the order if they'd started off well, though, like they done with Rashid a little bit last year. He'd jump ahead of him.
Yeah.
And
must-
depends, like a lot of their top order is going to be on Australian duty, aren't they?
Yeah, I
Yeah.
just don't know. I just not knowing how many overs he bowls worries me. Whether he's going to bowl his overs or not.
I'm just looking through their bowlers now.
Well, Rashid definitely bowls his 4.
And you got
and they
Matt
got-
Short. You got Matt Short that'll bowl a few overs too.
Where's Agar should bowl 4. Cameron Boyce will bowl close to 4.
Oh, Boyce, if he gets selected, yeah.
I think he'll probably nearly not. I wouldn't say guaranteed 4, but he should bowl 4 most weeks. He is a good bowler.
Don't forget you're missing Siddle. See, Siddle's gone from Adelaide.
Siddle's not signed with anyone.
Yeah, that's right. So Siddle's out.
His overs are there for the taking.
But at Conway, wasn't it Conway? He was the other
Harry
Adelaide,
Conway.
yeah, the other Adelaide bowler that went okay towards the back end of the year, I think last year. I'd never pick him, but that's just me.
Yeah.
All right. Well, that's most of that news that's sort of been floating around at the moment. We've got a couple of weeks to go. No doubt there'll be a bit more carnage. So, folks, let's have we'll go around and we'll see. Is there an antipod, a player that you don't want to pick that you see everyone else picking? We'll start at Rosco and then we'll go around from there. Rosco, you got an antipod for us, one that everyone's picking that you don't want to go anywhere near.
At the moment, it's probably Matt Julks, to be honest with you. That's the one because he's very high owned, obviously, because they got the double-double. But it's all going to depend on whether he opens or not. Because if he doesn't open, I won't go near him. But Harry Nelson's quite high ownership too, which I'm a bit surprised about as well. Because he's not going to bat up the order. He'll probably bat like 6 or 7. So I'm not sure why he's so owned, highly owned either. So yeah, but probably Julks at this stage.
Yeah, no, that's good. Yeah, the wicketkeeper, that's a real quandary. There's so many options there. Burgs, you got an antipod. You got one that you see everyone talking about. You think, oh shit, I don't want to go near him.
Well, you know what? He's highly owned, and it's Josh Phillippe, and I don't know why he's so highly owned at this time of the year. Like I know he's a gun, but you can easily work your way to him with doubles for the first 3 weeks. Like there's so many good options who should outscore him, you know what I mean, every week until it dries up for doubles. So, and you wouldn't put him on your bench, you know what I mean? Granted, he can go on a run, but I remember last year, I think he had 3 good games and then just had a dry spell, you know? I'm hoping he has that dry spell first 3 games and then he drops down and then I jump on. I think he's either 23 or 43% owned at the moment. And it really wigs me out. I know he's a great batter and I know this, but there's just better options for me. And I'm not going, like I like him and I had him in my first reiteration of my team, but I can't do it. I just can't find space for the bloke until the double games are finished.
Yep. Yeah, no.
Well, he's got a double in round 5, so you could easily try and go straight from one of your Thunder players to him.
Yeah.
All right. Dan, what do you reckon? You got an Andy one? You got someone that you might have heard a bit about that you think, oh, geez, I'm not going near him?
Maybe Tim David. He's sitting at 30%. I know he's cheap, but he's that odd one where he might bat 5 or 6 and might bowl an over or 2. He's only 89,000, so it might be worth the risk, but I don't know about him.
Yep. My doubtful one, for what it's worth, is Chris Lynn. Just about everybody's been jumping all over Linney at Adelaide. Yes, he will open. Yes, he's got a double straight up. But I'm not really sure how much money he's really going to earn. Even I know points are king as well. But, yeah, I've just got a few doubts on whether it's worth it going into Linney or if I should be looking at more of an all-rounder up into my batting position and trying to get someone like a McAndrew down in my bowlers rather than going Lynn. So
he's a very dangerous one to leave out because he can, especially in a double, he can score massive. Like, I think it's worth the risk.
What's that?
What's his form been like?
He's not playing.
He's been
He
in good
doesn't-
form.
Yeah.
He's been
He hasn't
playing in
played.
the overseas leagues and the 100 and things like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He doesn't
Mm.
play in the Shield or the one days though, but he plays in all the T20s around the world, and I'm pretty sure he's been hitting them pretty well.
Yeah. It's a short boundary down there at Adelaide too, isn't it?
Yes. Yeah. You do have square of the wicket. It seems to, certainly during the World Cup, it was a place to smack it if you wanted to get some good runs. To go to square of the wicket. Yeah.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah, no, there's some good pods. They're good anti-pods because we all know Linny can, as much as he can make you a champion, he can burn the shit out of you as well. And there's a few safer options out there than Linny who can do just as well. You know?
Yeah. Yeah, as I
He
said,
might be one of those players that you look at putting on your bench as that bench loop option. If he goes well that first game, then bring him in.
well, we will cover this probably in the. We're going to wrap it up soon, but we will in our next pod and our next discussion. We will have a look at that, boys, because the Stars play the Thunder in the first game, which means you really want a Stars cheapie or a Thunder cheapie sitting in your bench, so that you can loop them back in if they go ballistic. So a Gilt, say, or someone like that. So do have a look at that and think about that, because I think that's one worthy of a discussion to see what sort of looping options you might have. I'm not sure, Rosco, whether an Adelaide player really comes into it, only because it's that Stars versus Thunder game first up makes them ideal to loop. If you got someone, if Gilks goes ballistic, you can have him on your bench and you can sort of sub him in for a Josh Inglis or something like that. And all of a sudden you're getting his 100+ score plus his second game. But if he goes shit, you can stick with your original person, Matthew Wade or something like that you might have had instead. You see what I mean? Yeah, you can. Yeah.
I'm sorry. Hey, who are you looking at just quickly for that first week?
In which respect?
To play at wicketkeeper.
At the moment, I've gone a bit mad. I've gone Matthew Wade and Josh Inglis. And then I forget who I've also got another wicketkeeper down below on my batters, so I can sort of swap around a little bit. But yeah, I'm preferring to put my money into the other parts of the team. Like yourselves, I'm not sold on Josh Phillippe. Definitely not sold on McDermott. He's been in awful form.
What about Joe Clark? Why not Joe Clark?
Well, he is the one that was there originally for me. So Joe Clark is certainly probably a very real option with a double game straight up too.
Yeah.
I like Joe as well myself.
He's a gun player last year.
Yeah. Well, I think he's about 160, isn't he? I think so. You're getting probably about
153.
Yeah.
He took a little bit of time. Took a little bit of time to get his eye in, but he wasn't straight away on point. But it was his first time down here, I guess, as well in Australia playing cricket. So
we didn't really see much of him in the World Cup, did we? Dan?
No.
So it's a pretty hard one form line to go over. Really on that one. Who's keeping up there in Brisbane? Is it going to be the?
It'll be Billings, won't it? Will Billings keep?
Oh, they'll probably stick with Pearson, you'd think.
Oh, Jimmy.
I don't know if they can have them both in the team because he's not captain anymore. Because Usman's captain, but if Osman's in the Test team, then they'll probably pick Pearson to captain. I don't know, unless Billings captains while Usman's out. I don't know. It's a hard one.
Yeah,
I'm not sure.
Captain's not a tough job. Like anyone can do it.
But it's just a matter of whether if Pearson's still going to be in the team while Usman's out to captain, or whether they give it to someone else. I don't know what they're going to do up there.
All right. Well, that's about it, guys, for tonight. Thank you, everyone, for having a bit of a listen. Thanks, Dan, for coming on. Hopefully we'll have you back on as the season goes on, or maybe even next week. See how we go. Thanks,
worries,
Burgs. Stay cool.
Thank you, gentlemen.
Yeah, take it
That's
easy.
all right.
Don't do anything rash. Thanks, Rosco.
No worries.
All right, Mr. Cramp.
Pleasure as always.
Enjoy. And we'll have a chat again next week. All right. Thanks, guys.
Thanks, boys.
Cheers.